Hey, let's talk about plant medicine for a second. When it comes to the process of ending suffering, I think it can be helpful, and I also think it can turn into a trap. Having our beliefs, identities, and worldviews sort of chemically collapsed temporarily, which is what a lot of these plant medicines do, can definitely help us recognize A, that we have a filter, and B, that that filter is a large part of what causes our suffering. So in a way, these plant medicines, they give us the opportunity to have a glimpse of what it would be like to fully be ourselves, albeit heightened. I also had someone who was doing the KI work tell me one time it gave them a taste of what it was like to be out of emotional repression. So in that way, it was an aid to their KI process of resolving emotional repression. It sort of shows you what's possible so you can start cheerleading for yourself. So as long as you're doing it along with emotional repression work or some type of deep somatic work, right on. Where it can get tricky or turn into a trap is when it's used instead of, on its own, standalone, over and over again, where the plant medicine is expected to do all the work. Because though it can give you a glimpse of what it's like to be identity-free and out of emotional repression, it's probably not going to deconstruct your identity for you long-term, and it almost certainly will not bring you out of emotional repression. Here's why I say this. Our emotional repression mechanism, when we're not high on something else, is our drug. It's the thing that regulates our nervous system and keeps us feeling safe, just like drugs do. It sounds crazy, but emotional repression-induced suffering is a substitute in our waking lives for the freedom of, a medicine journey. We have to suffer, aka be locked into beliefs, identities, and worldviews to stay safe when we have buried repressed emotions in our bodies. I've worked with several people now whose plant medicine guides after a ceremony have said to them, yeah, just go meditate and let everything, be as it is. With no mention of how after a 6 or 7 hour temporary collapse of the ego, it's probably going to try to reassert itself and your beliefs, identities, and worldviews are going to come rushing back in, right? Meaning there's going to be a big whiplash of suffering, and without tools, that could be a real problem. And it was for these folks. A couple of them said that it was worse than before, and it felt like now they were going crazy. I had to show them that buried repressed emotions are the root of suffering and are what caused that whiplash in ego identification. But even that context wasn't enough. Together, we had to figure out what they primarily repressed, and I had to show them how to challenge their beliefs, identities, and worldviews in order to acknowledge, access, feel, and express those emotions. And so though plant medicine might loosen the soil and give you, brief access to your body and your emotions a bit more, it's not going to do that for you, right? And it's not going to do the long-term work of reversing and resolving emotional repression. In the same way that meditation and mindfulness won't, or that alcohol won't, or that nervous system regulation techniques won't. You're just not going to be able to dissolve nervous system dysregulation and suffering with techniques that don't target the roots of nervous system dysregulation and suffering, which of course is the repression of buried emotions. Like I said before, along with, great. Instead of, good luck. And if and when that gets old, come try some emotional repression work. The link is in the caption or the bio.